Hi guys, I'm just gonna do my vlog. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I would just like to say, I hope you're having a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Today has been a really challenging day for me. I woke up today and I had a throbbing headache from here to here, just throbbing, like it just felt like this kind of speed, and something really like large was just smacking me right here or punching me or whatever it is. Like it's starting right here again. So that was let's see, that was about 3 hours ago. And for the first 2 hours of my day, it was just extreme. I came downstairs, I took my vitamins, and well, at first I had to go to my son's room because he was already awake. I didn't have to wake him up. I'm sorry, I'm distracted a little bit because it's extremely foggy outside. But anyway, so I did that. I gave him breakfast and I took my vitamins, and after 2 minutes or even less, I just didn't feel much. And so I panicked a little bit. That's when the panic and the anxiety kicks in. So I started to take the liquid B12, and as the whole time we're downstairs, I'm taking my vitamins and I'm doing that, my son just keeps calling me, and every time he does that, like it just feels like a punch in my head, like right here. And then let's just say he's calling me the 5th time, because he's doing this like this way, ma, 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 and it's that fast, and it's like here, and then afterwards it was like right there the whole time, and all I could do was just glare at him. And then I told him, I snapped at him, which, you know, I feel awful now, but at the time that was the nicest thing I could do. That was the best thing I could do in the worst case scenario. So I just went, quiet time. You gotta stop. We talked about this. You gotta stop. When mommy already heard you, and I'm trying to rush my coffee, and everything was just like a nightmare. It was like a snowball, an avalanche of issue after issue after issue. And I feel like it always does feel like that when I wake up and it's in that situation. When it's before that. So anyway, I don't even know where it was. So it really was hard. And you know what? Now that I think about it, it was 2 hours, about 2 hours. But it really, really felt like it was longer than that. And somebody who is experiencing PCS, anxiety, depression, and things like that, I think those 3 things, for me, everything is super slow. When it comes to PCS, it's kind of a slippery slope, and it's also a double-edged sword because I lose time. But in that moment, the anxiety kicks in, and it's a slippery slope to get into something dark like depression. So the pain just really heightens up your anxiety, my anxiety anyway, and it really doesn't help. So 2 hours feels like a month, essentially. Like it really is painful. It's so painful, and time really is super slow, and it doesn't matter how much water I drink. And because of the intensity of the pain, I forget everything that I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? I forget that I should drink a lot of water. I tried to a little bit, and then of course, my husband was around and he was trying to talk to me, and I had to tell him, please stop. I'm having a really hard time and I'm getting nauseous right now. I don't feel good. And so he immediately like got it and did a wonderful job on that. But my son, you know, he's 2. You can't expect a 2-year-old to understand what's going on, and especially something this extreme. So after a while, I just kept saying, Mommy got a boo-boo, Mommy got a boo-boo over here, Mommy got a boo-boo over here, so you just got to be quiet a little bit. And so he did try, and he did go to the other room, like about 2 rooms away or 3 rooms away. So the sound wasn't as extreme because it wasn't right next to me. So that really did help. And but he was still playing his toys, which made a ton of noise. I laid down on the couch, and that really did help. Some water, and I think the vitamins started to kick in. It took a while. It really did take a while. And now after 3 hours, now I feel much better. I'm not nauseous anymore and all that stuff. It was just really hard. So I just wanted to do an intro that, you know, like for me, anybody who suffers from PCS or anxiety and depression and things like that, you're not the only one. I'm a part of that unfortunate community as well. And I feel like what we just need to do is just support each other no matter what. So if you want to reach out, be heard, say something, please do down below. Especially, you know, just don't be afraid, don't be scared. I know it's hard sometimes, but just leave your comments down below. I read every single one, and I will reply as best that I could. Sometimes there are just certain things that you just can't reply to, or you don't know, or I don't know what to reply to, and then the anxiety kicks in. So just understand that. But I will obviously I will show any kind of response, like a thumbs up or a heart or something like that. That would be, you know, in case I don't feel like there's something I can respond with. That's it. And anybody who suffers in PCS, anxiety, and depression, and things like that, please don't take that like you have to have like a construction, like a beautifully constructed comment or sentence or question or anything. It's not like that. It's just that sometimes some people just say, hello, or no, not hello, because I would obviously respond hello, but they would just have like a 1-liner or a 2-liner in which it's more of like a redundant kind of statement or rhetorical thing. And I feel like there's nothing I can say, that if I do say something, it might come off as being rude or snippy or uncalled for or something negative, and then my anxiety kicks in, and so I just don't. But you know, every positive message you guys send, I always take that to heart, and I'm always so happy you guys do that. So just so you know, you're not alone in this struggle. I struggle with this every freaking day, and it's so exhausting. So exhausting. So what I'm trying to do with this series vlog, I'm just learning my end here, but what I want to do is leave as many questions as you can for me to answer. I'm thinking, depending on how I can, I will try to answer 1 question in every video. If I can answer more than that without having to endure any kind of pain, I will. But every single video from now on will have a question with as detailed information as I can, because that's just who I am. I'm a very detailed person, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna keep going and going and going and going. And all the questions, none of them, I mean, some people would say, oh, maybe this is a stupid question. No question is really stupid, because you're asking something you have no information on. So I am always going to be willing to share that. I would also like to encourage anybody who is affected with PCS in regards to you personally, or somebody you know in your life or used to, or a loved one. Please also share your answers in the commentary, as well as if you have a question, I will also answer those in a following video. It might not be the next video right away, but I'm taking everything down, and I will answer every single one at some point. Today's question is, which it really was kind of hard for me to watch. The Aaron Hernandez documentary, yeah, I even forgot now if it was a limited series, a series, or just a documentary movie. So I don't know who this guy is. I didn't remember until after I watched it and I dialogued with my husband that we did read about him. In case you guys haven't seen this and you don't know anything about him, you don't know anything about his story, This is a spoiler, so you might want to just mute it for a little bit. And then I'm gonna do this, and that means that the spoiler is done. So he took his own life, and with that, I honestly didn't remember. And then I dialogued with my husband, and then he reminded me that I read something on an article when it did happen. And when he did remind me of that, I remembered I was reading it. I remembered where I was. I remembered where I stand, which was kind of a good thing in a sense. I'm not saying that it's a good thing that someone took their own life, but it was a good thing that I remembered. I just needed someone to remind me. So anyway, I watched the series, and I've never been a big football fan, and I think it's just I don't understand the sport at all. And it's, to me personally, it's one of those sports like you get really pumped up and then it gets stopped, and so you're pumped up for 10 seconds and then you're just kind of like shaking the excitement, and then it's way longer for them to have like a little squabble or whatever, and then they keep playing. That's the kind of sport, like I don't know, I feel like if I'm going to watch a sport, I want it to be fluid, you know, to continue the excitement and stuff, like not like bottle it in and shake it. And you know, it doesn't really help with anxiety or anything. So I wasn't really a big fan of sport. I never really had an interest in it and things like that. When I was diagnosed with a a concussion a few years ago, my husband actually did some research, and then he watched the movie. But at the time, I really was avoiding electronics. I was avoiding watching TV. I could watch TV for like 5 minutes, you know, things like that, and then I gotta lie down because the severity of the pain was just, it couldn't even be helped by medication, prescription medication. So that's what I had to do. And he said, you know, when you're better and you could actually watch something, let's watch that movie, or you can watch it yourself if you want to. You know, just, you don't have to wait for me because I already saw it. So I did watch it, and, you know, their findings were just ridiculously hitting home. Yes, these people are getting it more often and a lot more intense, but it just really freaking scary because everyday people, you know, having head traumas, it's not easy as well. But for people like that, it's even scarier in a sense because they're doing it over and over again, so they never really get to heal. And there really isn't even a real timeline for when you heal. From one of my doctors a few years ago told me, was because I asked as many questions as I can, I even wrote it down. He told me the hard data that they have is only good for 1 year. And that was because head traumas, especially in concussion, if there wasn't anything major, like for surgery or anything, they really didn't do more observation and more testing or more anything after that. So it hasn't been only in the recent years that they started to take down the data and really study it and these kind of things. So the only hard data they had at the time was only good for 1 year. And he said, I don't know what's going to happen in a year. If you're going to be better, you're going to be worse, or you're going to be the same. So he said, just pay attention. What I do know, and what I'm going to share with you guys, you get a cold, you get a fever, you get flu, you get a cough, you get any kind of ailment. If you get a stomach ache, if you bump your head, you get a cut, you get a rash, anything in which you are not completely 100% healthy, even a rash, or if you get a cut in your finger, your symptoms are going to pop up. Your symptoms are going to come back, and it varies. Usually it stays there for like a few days because you just don't know anything. And sometimes it can last for 2 weeks. For me, from what I've noticed, if I have some kind of ailment, it takes me about a week to 10 days to realize, oh my God, this was because of that. So pay attention to that, because you need to tell anybody that you have a roommate, you have a family, you need to let them know, because you're going to be feeling the way you were feeling on day 0 or day 1. Day 0 for me is like when it happened, but I could change that to day 1. So day 1 would be, because day 0 for me is like when it happened, and then day 1 is like the first day I'm trying to recover. So that's why I always say day 0. So anyway, let's go back to Aaron Hernandez. When they did the autopsy and they studied his brain, and when she showed that he had nothing on like this part of the brain right here, which gives you the filter to stop any impulses, to help with processing information, just to keep you from doing bad decisions, because that's the part of your brain that processes and tells you that's wrong, that's not right, let's not do that, these kind of things. And he made sense, because the way he was, that was really what it was. And he's such a young guy, you know, he was in his 20s. And she said, this is not normal for a 27-year-old. And a lot of pro football players that took their life and decided to donate their brain so that they could study it, those people were usually like a lot older, 40s, 50s, I think. So it's not even like a 27-year-old. Like, I think that was the first time they did an autopsy of someone who was a pro athlete or been playing football their whole life and getting head traumas their whole life, that they were able to see the severity of the pain of it. And I would recommend you watch that documentary, because it does show you a different side of a person, that this wasn't something that he wanted to do. His brain had a certain substance or matter that should have been there to help him do the right thing. For me, I do feel some similarity to that. And I'm sure other PCS people are the same thing. Like, I know it's not okay to snap at a 2-year-old. I know it's not okay to raise my voice when someone asks a question. I know it's not okay to get extremely angry for like the smallest things. However, I do it anyway. Is it something I can control? No, it's not. So I always want to try to share awareness in regards to that, because not everybody can understand that. If I wasn't suffering from PCS and there wasn't some kind of intensive documentary or like a vlog that I'm doing, I would look at that person like, wait, what just happened? You know what I mean? What just happened? Like, me asking you about the weather, or me asking you to pass the salt, why did you just like snap at me like that? Like, I just don't get it. So just understand that I know it's not like an excuse. I mean, it really is an excuse, because it's something we can't control. You just gotta try to understand and just be more understanding that this is a lot harder than people with PCS, rather than with you. Because with you still have the rationality, you have the self-control, you have the impulses that you can control, the impulses that you can still filter, all these things. With us, we don't have any of that. We don't have self-control. We don't have certain things, especially when it comes to like our emotions. So just be very, very aware of that. I encourage everybody to watch that. If you don't have Netflix, I encourage you to get Netflix to watch that. A lot of that really hit home, and a lot of that, like, I empathize so much with him. And when listening to him speak on recorded phone calls and explaining how the NFL really enabled for people to just do whatever they wanted, even though they declared, oh yeah, we don't do this, we don't do that anymore, this is already kicked out of the league. And yet professional teams would still give them certain medications that are supposedly not allowed. So it also kind of gives them this sense of like, maybe, I don't know, invincibility in a sense, that they could do whatever they want. So it really does fuel an animal inside you that not only can you not control, but is being fed by someone else and being said, you know what, let it soar, let it roar, let it grow. And then push comes to shove, this person just keeps doing certain things that they shouldn't, but because they've been enabled, because they've been just given chance after chance, no real repercussion, they never really, I feel, to me, like they never really have the chance to just go, whoa, 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 let's pump the brakes there and just, let's try harder. Let's try harder to not do that. Let's just try harder, harder, harder. That's what I tell myself all the time. And it takes so much of my energy. Like, I feel like I just need to plop on the bed. But of course, you know, I can't do that. But that's generally how I feel. And that's why at the end of the day, I'm extremely, extremely tired. Past couple of days, I've changed my vitamin intake. And everything is going to be down below in the description section, so don't worry about that. My thoughts on the Aaron Hernandez, I thought his mom, who was demanding $1 million, well, he's behind bars. I thought that was disgusting. He had an unfortunate life. It was hard, you know, and he tried to do the best that he could, that he knew what he knew he could excel in, as he just kept working harder and harder. But unbeknownst to him, it, you know, gave so much damage to his brain. It was already too late. So I've never really liked the sport. I think I feel even less in regards to liking it, in a sense, due to that, just due to how disgusting the league is and how they push certain things to just make their players go back and play, even though they, you know, something is in a great deal of pain, and they just pump them up with painkillers. And I don't think that's right. They don't really care how these people grow into what they're going to be in 10 years, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And they just pretty much get abandoned. But what they just care about is that right now, you know. So just watch the documentary. It's on Netflix. I forgot the whole title. It's a really long title, but it has Aaron Hernandez on there, and it really is worth a watch. I do recommend it. And so it's hard. It really is hard, because a lot of it really hit home, you know? A lot of it really hit home, and I cried so much because I sympathized and I empathized with him on things that I know I can't control sometimes. Like, I just get these rages, and like a part of me just like fights it so hard. But about 99.99999% of the time I lose. And next time it happens, I try harder and harder and harder, and I just get really fatigued and so drained. But that teeny tiny hope, that teeny tiny speck that I'm able to be successful, I feel so happy and elated. And but the struggle is always there. So I hope you enjoyed my video. You're gonna hit the like button, and of course share my video for anybody there who's battling this, who has been told that nothing is wrong with them, but this is just, they're just bad people, or loved ones who have certain loved ones that experience this. Share it. Awareness is key. understanding is key too. So just for us, it is every 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time. This is what I tell myself and tell other people. It's 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time. And just tomorrow is a different day. As I've said before, I'm going to update, this is my new series, so I'm going to update it as often as I can. I'm going to try and hope to do 1 video a week. If I'm going to do more than one, I guess I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try and do 1 a week. And I hope you hit the subscribe button if you haven't hit it. Of course, the bell so you're notified every single time I do upload a new video. Thanks so much, guys. And please spread awareness. Please spread awareness to CPS, anxiety, depression, and please support people that are battling these struggling situations. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys again next time.